So there's obviously a lot of discussion about Chromakopia, the new Tyler the Creator album, and in specifically what I want to talk about in today's video is musically where's this album going to go. And I've seen a lot of people say that this is going to be Tyler's next Igor. This is really going to set a trend and be a generational album. And while I think that's true, I think that musically it's going to be more similar to Cherry Bomb. And I have a couple pieces of evidence. One is just mainly speculation, just based off of the 1.5 minute snippet that we've gotten. And then the other is kind of a little bit of proof and a little bit of evidence of why this could sound like Cherry Bomb. And while I'm saying it's going to sound like Cherry Bomb, I also think that the intention of the album is going to be similar to Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb is arguably Tyler's most experimental album, even to this day, with albums like Igor in his discography. And obviously this album didn't get the best reception, and for good reason. I think Tyler's intention was great, and I think he had a great vision, but it just didn't land on a lot of songs. But with that being said, there is some great songs on Cherry Bomb, and I think Tyler wants to do the same thing he had intended for Cherry Bomb, to be experimental, brash, and kind of aggressive album with some more soul elements integrated into there as well. So it's kind of like a mix of soul and then also some industrial, aggressive production. And I think that's what he's going to be doing on Chromakopia. But obviously, since Cherry Bomb released, he's grown as an artist and he's grown as a producer and a writer, just overall artist. He's so much better than he was in 2015 when Cherry Bomb released. So I think he's really going to go into this album with that same attention as Cherry Bomb, but with new knowledge, and he's much wiser when it comes to music. But with all of that being said, Tyler doesn't make the same two albums. Every single album he's ever done is different, but each album is building for a new album. It's building blocks. Every album kind of takes elements of every other album that Tyler has done. And so I think this is going to be similar, and he's going to be taking elements from every single album he's done, but in specific Cherry Bomb, and I think more specifically the intention of this album. So that's just kind of speculation. Let's get into maybe some more evidence and concrete proof of this being kind of similar to Cherry Bomb. When we look at the alter ego on the cover of Chromakopia, it has this masked figure, and this is similar to Cherry Bomb, a masked figure. And obviously every Tyler album kind of has this other alter ego, the same outfit that he wears. Like Igor had the wig, Call Me If You Get Lost had Tyler Baudelaire with that hat, and then kind of the more luxurious outfits. So I think this album is similar to Cherry Bomb in the way of it's a mask that fully covers his face. And this might be a reach, but looking at the set list that Tyler has been playing over the last couple months, where he's been doing festivals, he did Austin City Limits and he did Coachella. When we look at the Austin City Limits set list, you have Death Camp and Smuckers on there. And if you're a Tyler fan, you know that he doesn't really ever perform Cherry Bomb songs since Cherry Bomb released in that tour that he did for that album. He doesn't perform Cherry Bomb songs ever. And so it's weird that he would add Death Camp and Smuckers, and specifically, to this set list for these festivals. And you could say okay, well, he's playing festivals. He doesn't want to do the same set list that he's been doing over the Call Me If You Get Lost era. He wanted to switch it up and maybe add stuff from each album. But I would respond to that with, why wouldn't he add Are We Still Friends? That's one of his biggest songs. He could have added that to the set list instead of Death Camp. Death Camp is nowhere near as, as big as Are We Still Friends? He could have even added his verse of After the Storm, or Gravity, or Gone Gone / Thank You. There's so many Igor songs that are more popular than Death Camp. I think the whole album of Igor is literally every single song is bigger than Death Camp. And there's also a lot of songs off Flower Boy he could have added. I could just go on and on about other songs that he could have added instead of Cherry Bomb. So this makes me think that maybe he's in that zone of okay, this was kind of my intention for this album, that's why I'm adding Death Camp and Smuckers. I don't think that the aesthetics of Chromakopia are going to be similar to Cherry Bomb. I'm saying that sonically it's going to be kind of similar. I don't want to go too deep into this Cherry Bomb theory because, like I said, there's no two Tyler albums that sound the same. But when looking at those two songs, Death Camp and Smuckers in specific, Death Camp is very brash in your face, and I think Tyler's going to go in that direction, It's going to be very energetic on certain songs. But then when you look at Smuckers, that's one of Tyler's best rapping songs. You have Kanye and Wayne on there, how can you compete with that? The rapping performances on Smuckers are really good. And I think that's going to be the case on this new album as well. I think that Tyler is going to continue what he did on Call Me If You Get Lost with the rapping stuff, and with Smuckers, having more rapping centric album but also with that brash energy of Death Camp. So that's just my theory on the Cherry Bomb and Chromakopia sounding similar. But again, I'll repeat myself, no two Tyler albums are the same. So this is going to be completely different. And I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on this album. I want to go and like maybe do a video on like where's this going to go conceptually. Is there going to be a storyline here? Because every Tyler album kind of has a small thematic, you know, storyline. Some are bigger stories than others, but you know, there's always some sort of concept. So I want to do tons of videos on this rollout, so stay subscribed for that. And let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think it's going to sound like Cherry Bomb? Do you think it's going to sound like Igor? What album do you think this is going to sound most like? Thank you for watching.